Hail and well met, adventurers. I'm your host, the Dungeon Master, and I bid thee welcome to this brand new Let's Play of Blackwell Unbound. This being the second game in the Blackwell series created by Dave Gilbert and published by Wadget Eye Games. There are 5 games in the Blackwell series, starting off with the Blackwell Legacy, continuing with Blackwell Unbound, Blackwell Convergence, Blackwell Deception, before finally wrapping up with the Blackwell Epiphany. For several reasons, I'm going to be doing a Let's Play of Blackwell Unbound for reasons which I will get to in just a short moment. Bear with me, adventurers. Well, there are actually 2 major reasons. The first of which is Blackwell Unbound is my favorite entry in the entire series. I have played the entirety of the Blackwell series, but Unbound remains my undivided favorite. Second of all is the fact that the Blackwell Legacy, for some reason, I cannot get it to launch. I have it installed, but there was a recent update patch that appears to have caused a bug or a glitch in the installation process, which means that I can't play it. And so for that reason, and for the reason that this is my favorite in the entire series, Blackwell Unbound is going to therefore be the only Blackwell game in the entire series that I'm going to be doing a Let's Play of. Now that we're jumping straight into the second chapter of the Blackwell series, you'll notice 2 people staring out over the horizon on a balcony railing. The woman on the left here is, I say left, even though she's technically standing to the right of this dapper-looking gentleman over here. Anyway, this is the main protagonist of Blackwell Unbound, Lauren Blackwell, who just so happens to be the aunt of the main character of the other Blackwell games, Rosangela Blackwell, or Rosa for short. For those of you who are familiar with the Blackwell Legacy, Lauren Blackwell should be a very familiar character to you, and the reason for that is that Blackwell Unbound is actually sort of a prequel of sorts. I say sort of because Blackwell Unbound and Blackwell Convergence were originally supposed to be one game, the Blackwell Convergence. However, in the commentary for Blackwell Unbound, Dave Gilbert basically said that he wanted to get a second title out because Convergence wasn't finished yet, and so he put out the first half of Convergence as Blackwell Unbound. There were a lot of things that were cut, but it's still a fairly polished game despite being the shortest in the entire series. A lot of quality went into this though, as I just alluded to earlier. Lauren Blackwell is, of course, 29, living in New York, which is where pretty much the entirety of the Blackwell series takes place. And she definitely is an interesting character, as you will soon see throughout as this Let's Play goes on. Now, the person standing next to her, dressed as if he's something straight out of the 1920s or 1930s, and that is because he is a ghostly apparition by the name of Joseph Malone, or Joey for short. He is the spiritual guide who will accompany Lauren Blackwell through this adventure because, believe it or not, Lauren is a medium, which means she can see and interact with spiritual ghosts, and it's her job to basically help them move on. Sadly, this is not the case for Joey because he is stuck with the role of being Lauren's spirit guide. Of course, Joey later on will become Rosangela's spirit guide much later, but I actually feel like I will try not to spoil too many things between Blackwell Legacy and Blackwell Unbound. I will allude to them, but I'll try not to give anything too much away, although you might be able to figure it out for yourselves when push comes to shove. But I think I've rambled on long enough, although there is actually something more that we can do before we actually dive right into the Let's Play. Make sure that everything is as it should be, speech and subtitles are on, commentary off. As nice as it is to listen to Dave Gilbert's melodious tones, we're not going to be listening to that through this Let's Play adventure. We also have a photo album, which we currently have none of the photos of at the moment, and there are also achievements with nice little Easter eggs that Dave Gilbert put into pretty much all of the Blackwell games. Little things that you get for doing certain things throughout each chapter of the Blackwell series. So without further ado, adventurers, I've definitely talked for long enough, for the moment at least, so let's dive right in to Blackwell Unbound. After we deal with the in-game instructions prompt, for which we do not want in-game instructions because I'm going to be explaining things myself. Of course, we can still see them by clicking the help button, which I'm not going to do so. So without further ado, adventurers, let's start this Let's Play properly this time, and enter the world of Blackwell Unbound.
Infinity. I've been told it's beautiful, but I don't think it's anything special. But when you live like me, most things become quite ordinary. Life, death, tormented souls, it's all the same to me. Sometimes I wonder if anything will ever surprise me again. Sometimes I wonder if I even care.
Jedi Games presents Blackwell Unbound. Starring Danny Marco as Lauren and Abe Goldfarb as Joey. And of course, like everything else in the Blackwell series, the music by Thomas Regin here is exquisite to listen to. City, 1973.
And stay out!
Aw, hey, you know I don't like that. What's your beef anyway?
I am not talking to you.
Oh, promises, promises. So what's next on the list?
What's next? The balcony.
Why, gonna throw yourself over and join me?
No, I'm having a cigarette.
Great, you want a cigarette. What am I supposed to do?
You can do whatever the hell you like. Just one. Then I can get on with this.
Now there are two things that you will notice here, adventurers. First things first, if you couldn't already tell from the menu screen, Lauren is a chain smoker. A chain smoker to put other chain smokers to absolute shame. Second of all, there is something actually unique about Blackwell Unbound that separates it from its other games in the series, and that is the fact that there are no talking portraits whatsoever in Blackwell Unbound. That was one of several features that sadly had to be cut, although in all honesty, getting rid of them actually made Blackwell Unbound stand out more. However, they're still featured in the other Blackwell games, Blackwell Legacy, Convergence, Deception, and Epiphany. And of course, we start the night off in Lauren's apartment, overlooking the skyline of New York City, 1973. We're definitely jumping back into the past, and the decor is actually very much in the realm of the early 70s. Not that I would know, because, well, I didn't exist back in the 70s, so I'm not one who's qualified to judge. Now, of course, well, We could have Lauren move around and examine stuff. However, there is a minor roadblock in our path here.
I'm not moving from this spot until I've finished my cigarette.
Yeah, she's also quite moody as well. Then again, when you're a 29-year-old medium living in the streets of New York City, albeit rather fashionably, I might add, and dealing with ghosts night after night, and given her monologue, yeah, Lauren's perspective has changed considerably. And, well, we have a few things in our inventory, or Lauren's inventory, I should say. A case list, a cigarette pack, a lighter, and a lit cigarette, which Lauren is smoking right now. Now, the Blackwell series is unique in that, in order to move the ghosts on to the afterlife, which is actually where Lauren was standing at the gate of infinity during her little monologue there is a lot of detective work and case solving that goes into helping spirits move on into the next realm or the beyond or whatever you want to call it.
No, the case list doesn't exist. Nothing exists until I finish this cigarette.
Right-clicking, of course, allows us to examine various items either in the inventory or elsewhere. Unfortunately, Lauren's mood is so foul that she will continue burning the midnight oil, and by that I mean continuously smoking that one cigarette, and not even bothering to register anything, least of all that case list. Now, left-clicking actually allows, well, right-clicking examines, left-clicking actually allows us to pick up various items and things.
A pack of cigarettes. Should last till the end of the day.
Should being the operative word here, Lauren.
It's my lighter.
And that's all she has to say on that.
This will probably be my last cigarette of the day.
I considerably doubt that very much, Lauren Blackwell. But in any event, Lauren...
I'm not moving from this spot until I've finished my cigarette.
Lauren isn't going to do anything until she's finished that cigarette of hers. Well, you might be wondering, what else is there to do? She's clearly not going to be cooperative, and there's nothing we can actually do that will change her mind. Well, that is where Joey Malone comes in, because from Blackwell Unbound onward, we can actually take on the role of Joey Malone. Although we can't take on the role of Joey Malone because, of course, he's being played by Abe Goldfarb, who, believe it or not, voiced another character, Rabbi Russell Stone, in The Shiver, of which I did a Let's Play of back in 2016-2017. You couldn't really... Joey wasn't really a playable character as such in Blackwell Legacy. Rosa pretty much had to do all of the legwork in the first inaugural title of the Blackwell series. And because Joey's a ghost, he doesn't so much walk as hover around. Interestingly, Lauren and Joey have very unique perspectives when it comes to examining the world outside, which really develops their characters quite well.
Man, that is an old coat. I think soldiers wore it during the Civil War.
He says without even needing to look at the coat, because Joey is very familiar with all of Lauren's habits by now.
A pair of muddy boots.
And a doormat. At least nobody can say that Joey Malone is anyone's doormat.
Just an old doormat. It's covered in cigarette burns.
Lauren Blackwell, what are we going to do with you? You are a hopeless case.
A jar stuffed with loose cash.
rainy day jar there, and a photograph on the wall. Family reunion.
If I'd known I could be photographed, I would have shown my good side. That's Jack, her kid brother. He's alright, I guess.
Going to let Joey introduce everyone there.
Oh, look, it's her. Good old Patricia Blackwell, also known as Cleopatra, Queen of Denial. Spent 7 months bonded to that woman. She never spoke to me once.
Patricia Blackwell is, of course, Rosangela's grandmother, and Jack is Rosangela's father. And there, of course, is a much younger Lauren Blackwell.
Look how young she was. She's got to be 18, 19? It's been over 10 years. Time flies.
I can really relate here because I was 19 when I first started doing Let's Plays back in the day, and now I am pretty much the same age as Lauren is in the events of Blackwell Unbound. Man, I am old. Not to be disrespectful to people older than me, but I can kind of relate to how Lauren feels right about now. Of course, we can interact with Lauren and try and find out why exactly she's completely upset with Joey Malone, but we can also examine a lot of things in Lauren's apartment.
It's her phone book.
Some things Joey will just nonchalantly say.
She calls this thing a Polaroid. Takes pictures instantly. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, remember the fact that Joey is from the 30s. So a lot of the things since then will actually fascinate Joey, and there are some other things that will definitely not fascinate him.
Tackiest thing I ever saw.
Case in point, the candle in a bottle.
Tackiest thing I ever saw.
Of course, sometimes Joey isn't even looking at the items in question when he's actually...
The local rag.
Yeah. That's what they call a tabloid.
Oh, look. It's the couch. Every night I get to watch her snore on that thing.
It's a hard life being a spirit guide. Also, Joey can't really interact with things too much because, of course, he is incorporeal.
No, I'm not doing that again. The kid can find her own damn loose change.
This game is absolutely wonderful. Packed full of details of everything.
An ashtray. Full, of course.
And there are several of them all around the place.
Oh, look! Another ashtray. Another ashtray. What a surprise. She keeps smoking, and yet that pile never seems to grow smaller.
Wonder how she can afford to pay all those, packs of cigarettes. There's a coffee mug on the table there, if Joey can actually look at it.
Just another one of the many mugs that plague this place.
There's also a plant hanging from the kitchen window there, or the alcove.
That thing is deader than, well, me.
Let's see if we can do something with the plant, eh, Joey? He's going into the kitchen.
Ooh. Oh, look, I scared it to death. Wait, no, hold on. It was already like that.
Shut up.
And, what a surprise, we actually managed to get a reaction out of Lauren. Albeit for a brief moment. This plant is also another keepsake in the Blackwell family, as Rosangela has probably the same plant, if not a similar plant, that she too has a very difficult time keeping alive. And there's another coffee mug.
I can't remember the last time she washed that thing.
Yeah. Lauren's domestic habits are clean, but not that clean. She's also very absent-minded herself.
Just a radio. I can't turn on the radio. I can't touch it.
Yeah, that's Joey once again reminding us that he can't interact with anything very much.
I can't use the phone. I can't touch the thing.
Alas.
Some kind of recording device. She babbles into it every morning.
Huh, she's got it, some kind of recorder that's called a dictaphone. Interesting. Then again, given the fact that she's a medium, she probably needs it as another alleviation apart from, of course, the constant amounts of cigarettes that she smokes on a daily basis.
She's in one of her sulky moods.
Well, I think now that Joey has explored everything in Lauren's apartment, the time has finally come to bite the bullet and actually inquire as to why Lauren is actually so upset with Joey over whatever happened this particular evening. But that is going to be it for this episode of Let's Play Blackwell Unbound. And when we return, adventurers, we shall, talk to Lauren. As always, adventurers, until next we meet.